everybody, Hannah from Destined for Adventure here. I wanted to record this video to talk to you about my temporary residency process here in Mexico. So I am an American citizen, born and raised in the US. I've actually been living in Mexico for the last 2.5 years. For 2 years, approximately, as a tourist, where I would get a 6-month tourist visa, the FMM, Fórmula de Entradas Múltiples. There's something else. Fórmula Migratoria de Entradas Múltiples, or something like that, where you have multiple entries during that 6-month period. And I would just leave and get another 6-month visa when I would enter again. I did that for a period of time, and then I realized, you know what, I think I would like to get residency here, and I would like to do this the right way. So I first tried one process. I got a local lawyer here in Monterrey area, and we tried to do the process of regularización. Due to the pandemic, there was a special exemption, and so they were allowing people on expired visas to regularize themselves or legally become residents without having to leave the country. But that did require that you pay a quite large fine. I think, if I remember right, I think the fine might have been like around $1,000. So I tried to go through that process. We got an appointment. We went there. We prepared all of the paperwork. The lawyer had called in advance. He had gone in advance, and they said, yes, she qualifies based on her situation. We arrive before the appointment, before we deposit all the money for the fine and the processing into their bank account associated with the immigration office. We went to just verify that everything was still correct, because the lawyer told me, you know, these things can change from day to day. They could wake up and say, this program's no longer valid. So he said, let's just check before we deposit all the money. So we checked with them. What do you know? They said, no, I don't qualify. So he said, but I already, called, and you said she does qualify. So he asked them to take the decision back to the supervisor. They came back. They said, no, she doesn't qualify. All we can do is give you a 6-month tourist visa for several $100s worth of money. And I was just like, and the lawyer was like, no, because she can just drive to the border and get a new tourist visa for like 500 pesos, like $25, $30. So we were like, okay, back to square one. So it was pretty stressful, to be honest, because I had contacted the lawyer in advance of my tourist visa expiring, because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to stay illegally in Mexico, that I would do it for the shortest amount of time possible and get my appointment as quickly as possible, and that everything was all set and there weren't going to be any hiccups. Because obviously it's not ideal to overstay your visa. It's not something that I would recommend for anyone, not even myself. And so unfortunately, once that happened, I was like, okay, now what do I do? Because I obviously can't fix the situation overnight, and now I'm here illegally, which is not what I wanted. And so I need to find a solution. So I decided that I was going to go the route. I talked with my lawyer, and there were several different options, but the one that seemed the most in line with what I wanted for myself and, my values and things like that was I wanted to do the non-lucrative visa process, which involves an appointment in the US or some country outside of Mexico for the first step of the pre-approval process, and then a second appointment at an immigration office in Mexico within a certain period of time, where you were then issued the official visa. And that's the whole process. It's just those 2 appointments, but obviously you have to set those appointments up in advance. They're not available just days from now, so I had to wait a couple of weeks. And I was able to get an appointment at the border at Eagle Pass, and unfortunately my van was in the mechanic for repairs, so I wasn't able to drive there. So I had to take the bus the night before to the border, walk across the border, walk to the immigration office, which I later found out there's a bus for $1 that'll take you from the bridge to there, but it was only a couple of miles, but I mean still. Now there's a bus for $1 if you ever go to Eagle Pass. But everyone was super nice there, so I prepared all of my documents in advance with the lawyer. That involved, I actually have all of them right here because I was just going through everything. We just tried to be as thorough as we possibly could. So that involved, there's a form you have to fill out. We printed an extra copy of that form that the Mexican government requires in case there was any errors or we needed to make a correction. I made copies of every single thing. I have bank statements from the last 6 months demonstrating my income. I have a letter from my job, both in Spanish and in English, signed by the founder of the company, saying the average amount of money that I make per month, because I'm a contractor, I'm not on salary, how long I've been working for them, kind of a summary of my responsibilities, the name of the company, contact info, blah, blah, blah. I also prepared references, both from people who knew me here in Mexico and also friends in the United States. So I got reference just on he had me make up a copy of my resume in Spanish and in English and put the reference contact information on there. And then I had to have a copy of my passport, passport photos. What else? I think that was it. Yeah, the bank statements. Let me just double check here. Yeah, the bank statements, the employment letter, resume. Oh, a copy of my appointment confirmation. I printed that out. Oh yeah, here's the form. So the form changes from time to time, but it kind of looks like this. This is the government form. It's blank. So I made my appointment. You need to arrive at least 15 minutes early to the office. So obviously I got there the night before. I wasn't sure how long it would take to cross the border by walking. It was extremely quick, so I was able to do a little bit of shopping before I went there. Everyone was super nice. I just waited in the waiting room, and they didn't check me in or anything like that, but there was a guard at the door, and he just, I told him what time I had my appointment, and he said, okay, go in and sit down. So I just went in and sat down. After a little while, they called my name. I went to the counter. I brought all of my documentation. I spoke to them only in Spanish. I understand from my research that they, do want to check that you speak Spanish. How important that is, I don't know. I was the only foreigner in that office, and everyone there was speaking only Spanish. So I didn't have any troubles communicating, of course, since I am fluent in Spanish. They just asked me a few brief questions. They asked me, I think, what type of visa it was, whether I was going for the family unification visa. And I said, no, I'm going for the non-lucrative income visa. And they asked, what do I do for work? And I said, I work for a company in the United States. I work online, and that I'm a project manager. And then they asked about my income. I said, I have my bank statements here. I passed it to them. I had already highlighted, how much I made each month, and then the month at the top, and I had them all stapled for the last 6 months, even though I read online that they might only require 3 months. But the lawyer said, just prepare everything as thoroughly as you can, because you never know, they might ask for something different in their office, even though they might tell you in advance or on their website that they only require X, Y, and Z. So I thought that was really good advice, and it's definitely worth paying him, even though I speak Spanish, but just to get, because he's dealt with this so much and he knows the whole process. So that was a big help. So that appointment was actually really quick. I think I was in and out within, Campana, stop. I think I was in and out within, I don't remember. I was waiting for a while. It was definitely within 2 hours. There's a fee that you have to pay cash. I believe they had change, but I can't remember. I think it was like around $40. So yeah, they took my documents, and then they went back to the counter. They asked me to sit down. I sat down and I waited. They called me back over. Oh, they took my money as well. I don't remember whether they took money earlier or later, but they called me back over. They had taken my passport as well. They put the pre-approval, which is like a page in your passport. They took the payment, I believe, at that time, and that was it. Then I was done. So I was free to leave. So I went and got lunch, and then I made my way back to the bus station. Unfortunately, the bus was delayed, so I got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, it's okay. It was all fine. The only issue I ran into was because I crossed at Eagle Pass, I had walked across at Bridge 1, but because I needed to get a special type of authorization to enter Mexico, I couldn't go on another tourist visa. I needed to get a special type of permission. I had to go to the immigration office, which was a different bridge, which was far away, and it was very hot, and it was very difficult to find, and I got lost, and I ended up spending like an extra hour looking for that office. Once I finally found that immigration office, I was able to do everything quickly. It was free. It was supposed to be a fee, but it was free. I guess I was the only person walking across trying to get this type of visa on that day. There was no wait or anything. They have you fill out the regular FMMA, the tourist visa, but you need to ask for canje. So the canje is like the pre-approval for, some kind of entrance that's not as a tourist, but you don't have your residency card yet. So it's a special little section they need to fill out on the FMMA. And yeah, they just filled that out. Okay, great. I was on my way. No problems at all. I walked to the bus station. I'm pretty sure they didn't even check my documents at any point. because by then I was already in Mexico and I just took the bus back to Monterrey, so it was all totally fine. When I went for the second appointment in Monterrey, so as soon as I got back, I texted the lawyer, and I had been in communication with him the whole time. And so we set up our appointment for the following Thursday at the immigration office. You have a certain period of time from when you enter the country that you have to get your appointment in Mexico at the immigration office. I don't remember how much time it is, but 1 week was well within that period of time. We went to that office and ended up being the exact same agent that saw me the time before and told me I couldn't get the other type of visa. So I don't know whether she remembered me or not. We confirmed everything. We went to the bank. We paid and deposited the fees at the bank. I don't remember how much it was. It might have been like $200. You'll have to check online and see what the latest rates are, but I deposited it at that moment. I brought that receipt with me. I had, again, all the same documentation I had taken to the appointment in the US just in case they asked for it. They just asked for my passport, the proof of payment, and then they asked me to write a letter that stated like my intentions of living in Mexico, which we had not prepared, but they just gave me a piece of paper and said I could just write it with a pen. So the lawyer told me what to write, and it was something in Spanish to the effect of like, yes, I am moving and I live in Mexico, and I don't know, this is my address, and I work online for a US company, and I don't know, something to that effect. They basically told you what to say. I wrote that. Within a few minutes, I was completely done. So they took my picture. It actually turned out good, which is kind of surprising. They took my picture. Then they came back and they gave me the printed laminated card. They also gave me my CURP, which is like my identification number within the Mexican governmental system. Just a printed copy. You can print another one online if you need it. So I held on to all of those documents, and I might have forgotten a few little details, but they didn't. I think, again, they asked me if I was doing family reunification. I said, no, I'm doing the non-lucrative visa. And they didn't ask for financial documents. They didn't ask what address I'm living at. Nothing. It was basically like just a administrative step, to be honest, was what it seemed like. And that was it. I have my residency. So now whenever I need to show identification here, I show my passport and my Mexican residency card, because I don't believe that the residency card is like a legal government identification. I think it's more of a legal status, like legal immigration status document. But in any case, yeah, haven't had any problems when I traveled to the US and back. I show that as well because my van, I have it registered here in Mexico, and I want to show, that I have my life here. I'm not planning to illegally import my van into the US and leave it there or sell it there or something like that. So yeah, that was my whole process. It was, once I started doing the non-lucrative process, it was actually quite simple. My lawyer was really helpful because he knows the ins and outs and he knows where to get an appointment quicker. So if you do feel the need to hire a lawyer, I would recommend that you hire a lawyer in Mexico. If you're starting this process in the US, I would recommend that you look at the timelines for the different appointments and things like that. And I would recommend that you do this process when you're actually ready to move to Mexico and you have a date for that. Because otherwise, kind of defeats the purpose. The purpose is that you're living here in Mexico. So I hope that helps you guys. I'm sure a lot of people will want to know, what is this process like in 2022? So if you have any questions about the Mexican temporary residency or the non-lucrative visa program as a foreigner or a US born person seeking Mexican residency, feel free to drop those in the comments. Have a great day, guys.